Okay. Oh man. Let's uh let's talk about that. That was quite a thing. So I had originally intended to just do uh one of the gateway experiences, not two back to back, but I kind of I think I fell asleep, much like my cat Bonnie here. Uh yeah, so the first one was first or this it's the first tape of the second wave of the Gateway Experience. Intro to um, intro to 12, intro to Focus 12, intro to Focus 12. Uh, which I got into. I got to Focus 12. Focus, like, just all of the process of getting into my you know, filling and then closing my energy conversion box. Um, the energy balloon, harmonization, like all of that, very smooth, right into it. No problems. Dropped right into Focus 10. Well, not right into, but pretty close to uh, dropping right in. Um, Felt good. I got up a little bit, waiting for Robert to get to me for Focus 12 to take me up there. Pretty simple process. Count from 10 to 12 slowly, and then you'll be in Focus 12. I got to Focus 12, and there was definitely an expansion of my awareness from a sensation point. I don't know that I traveled anywhere, but it felt very much like I was able to see and go places, reach out and extend further than my I guess local neighborhood, if you will. And by local neighborhood, I'm not talking about the guys down the street. I mean, like, the sphere of awareness that I have of sort of my area of being, right? The places I know to exist, the things that I know that I have seen from Focus 10, from other out of body experiences. But Focus 12 was interesting in a first visit sort of way. I had a vice president one time that I worked with, and he talked about putting vacation eyes on when you went on vacation, and having awareness, like hyper awareness of the things around you, the things you're seeing, because it's all new, it's all different. And I want to say that I was trying to put vacation eyes on at Focus 12, but I don't know that I was successful at it. I did see one set of beings, but it wasn't in a, I don't know quite where it was. It's almost like I was looking through a small box, and they had a window, almost like they were. It's hard to describe. I'm gonna say, if you imagine how you see armored cars in movies, and they have that little sliding window, and you can see when you're in the back, you can see into the cab over the shoulders of the driver and the passenger in that bench seat, and you can see out the window in that limited view through that small compartment. But I had no way to open that window or close that window. But I do know that I could see through it. They had scissor-like hands, almost like, kind of like the Penguin in Danny DeVito and Tim Burton's Batman 2 from back in the 90s. Michael Keaton, great Batman. But he had they both had very, like, flipper-like hands, I'm going to say, at the end of their arms. They were grayish green with a shimmer of blue, kind of almost an iridescent, without swaying into a purple or a black. It wasn't dark. It was very much a grayish green, and where you would expect to see it shimmer towards purple or fade to black, it was either white or blue. It was a very interesting coloration. But they were holding some sort of white fish, aquatic animal of some sort. And I don't know that they were doing anything wrong to it, anything bad or what they were doing. They were just sort of holding it. And I remember reaching out and saying, hey guys. And then sort of the one in the driver's seat just reached back and shut that window. And there was a very solid metal gunk sound of that window closing. And then it was sort of the ether, I suppose. I looked in and saw in a different area there was my wife dressed in a hoop skirt and a very early 1800s type of Old West or Western frontier kind of dress. In a saloon. It was a wooden floor. I don't know exactly what it was, but it had that feel to it. And then that was very brief. That was a very just quick snip. And then I was pulled out of that, and I went past only what I can describe as a nervous system for a being. I feel like it would be a stretch to call it a human nervous system. But it was humanoid in form, and then that was sort of where I was. And then when I remember coming back into my body from wherever I was, from Focus 12, when I remember Robert saying, coming back into speech or recognizing speech, I remember him saying, talking about color breathing, and if there were troubles, to take a deep breath and breathe out, and imagine the color green, as a healing color, and then he went to red and purple, and then he started to count down from 10. Well, that's not true. Before we got to that, he had started counting. He had counted us out of, or counted me out of focus 12 back to 10. And then I was at focus 10 for a minute. Then I remember the color breathing. And then he started counting out of focus 10 back to 1 with the idea of coming all the way back into reality, into waking times. But when he started talking about the color breathing, when he started talking about that and then fading into counting back to waking from 10, I felt the being of me felt very, very small inside of my meat vehicle, my physical self. My physical entity felt very large compared to the being that was me, or that is me, or that I identify as myself, the viewer of my reality through my meat vehicle. These are all really fun concepts, and you guys wouldn't be watching it if you weren't interested in it, right? So I think you have an idea of where I'm going. But I felt very small, and I wasn't behind my eyes. I was behind my mouth. I was behind my palate. I was lower in my skull. Feel my teeth as very large. I could feel my tongue as very full in my mouth. My hands felt very big, and I felt like as though I were trying to grow to fill the space within me to re-engage the feelings of my physical being. But it was a slow, deliberate process of refilling, I don't want to say I was poured back into my being, to my physical self, but it was a very it was a very out of the physical experience to come back into. And then right around as I got to almost full, almost feeling like I was regular sized again, that I encapsulated the shell of me, and re-engaged all of the systems. Right as I got to there, Robert was counting down, and he had gotten to 7, and he stopped to say that once we get to 1, I will be fully awake and fully aware. And then he started over again with the counting with 7, and that's where everything stopped. Like the recording stopped, there was no sound, there was nothing. But at the same time that he said 7, I heard a voice. I don't know that I heard it. I felt it. It was in me, the voice. It wasn't me. It wasn't my voice. I didn't hear it as the voice of me that I'm used to associating with the sound that my body makes when I push air across my vocal cords. But I heard a voice inside of my head that said, enough. Right as Robert said 7, I heard enough, and then it stopped. And that's where I woke up, fully conscious. Uh, for this experience, this round. Um, but I was very confused because the color breathing piece was much further along than I. It was hard to figure out where I had been from the intro into color breathing, and so I looked at my MP3s that I had put on my phone, and for whatever reason they're out of order, so that the one I was it doesn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and through in the correct numerical sequence. It went from the intro to color breathing, so 1 to 4, skipping wave 2, 2 and 2, 3, which I'll have to go back and do. Pick those up because I'm sure there's stuff in there. But man, I feel awake. I feel energized. I feel comfortable. I don't know, the enough, and the stoppage of the experience of the player, just cutting it dead right there at 7, which is odd. So my birthday is the 17th of the year 1977, and so sevens are kind of that's 3 sevens, 777. If you look at a one-arm jack and like 777, like you get 3 of those, big winner. I'm not saying that's my life, big winner, but yeah, 7's kind of a number for me. I know that everybody's like, "Oh, it's lucky 7s. It's this and that." Like, I get that it's a number for a lot of people, but not everybody's got a bunch of 7s strung up in all of their numbers. Like my social security number's got a bunch of 7s in it. A bunch of divisibles by 7. It's strange. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know quite what that is. There's not an explanation for it. I'm not looking for an explanation to it, honestly. I don't know that there's anything to point out there other than the fact that it's an interesting coincidence that he got to say 7 twice, and then something. Not me. I mean, I don't think it was me. I'll go back and look at the tape. I don't think it was me. Something stopped it all right there, right at that second 7. So I don't know. All in all, very interesting, very good experience. And this is not the first time that I've had an out-of-body experience where some other voice has entered into my being, into my space, and stopped or kicked me out or woke me up from where I was. I'll talk about those later in another one, but for now, just remember, keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see each other out there. Peace.